or actually good afternoon for most of you. So I was talking to Danny and Sandy on one of my videos, and we're talking about propaganda. Is now the time for me to start accepting propaganda just like everybody else? Well, before we start answering that question, I guess let me start with where I stand on propaganda. Now, if you ask the average person, do you like propaganda? Do you like propaganda? Do you like to watch somebody lie to you? They'll say, no, man, I want the truth. I don't like propaganda. I don't like that stuff, man. But the reality is, what's the expression? You can't handle the truth. And there comes Kitty. I just heard him jump down from the bed. He's like this high up. I heard the thud. Thought it was somebody trying to break. There he is. Meow. There he comes. There he comes. He wants some attention. He's like, "What you talking about?" So anyway, um, you can't handle the truth. Most people can't handle the truth about the reality of themselves, about the reality of life, the reality of the world. That's why people find ways to hide. What's up, man? You want to be on TV? No, he want to run away. That's why they find ways to hide from reality, right? So there's religion, there's cults, there's a lot of different ways that people use. Let me just double check something real quick. There he is. There he starts off. So there's a lot of different ways that people choose to hide from reality. The truth of life is very uncomfortable. I think there's a lot of things very uncomfortable about. I mean, the uh, the fact that we don't live forever, that alone, right? How's the expression go? We start out on on fours and then on twos and then on fours again or something like that. Basically illustrating that you start out life as a baby, very dependent on others, and then as you get older, you start walking on two. You're an adult, doing your own thing. I'm the boss of me, man. You're not the boss of me. And then you get older, start getting weaker again, and then eventually you become dependent again. And then I guess on threes the expression, right? That's probably the expression. It's probably on fours, on twos, and then threes because that's when you have the cane, right? That's an uncomfortable truth, man. And so people come up with different ideas. Some people think when you die, you're gonna get a whole bunch of virgins or something. I mean, everybody's got their own little thing. Makes it much easier, right? Most people can't handle the truth, so they need some sort of security blanket just to survive. I mean, life can be tough, man. I know people deal with depression. I've had my episodes of a little bit of depression. Luckily, never severe, but enough to cripple me from getting things done. Um, so it's tough. So it's like I think without these escapes, we'd have a lot more people, unaliving themselves and more drug use and things of that nature. And there's even the violence, right? Some people that really go crazy and they what do you call it? Shooting spree or something like that. So perhaps it serves a purpose that people come up with these things that help them to cope with the reality of life. Very few of us are crazy enough to live in reality. I mean, even myself, I embrace reality, I think, much more than most. But even myself, let's be real. The what is it? My mortality. My mortality is something that is, a challenge. I mean, it's not something I really think about, and that's part of the process. I try not to really think about it. Occasionally, I may think about stuff like that, but generally, you know, I try not to think about it. I mean, even to the extent where when I was much younger, man, I'm embarrassed to admit, I didn't even go to the funeral of someone who was very close to me. Um, I feel bad about it, but that's how much I didn't want to sort of embrace that reality that we're all here for a time. So I'm not immune, right? I'm not some kind of Superman, and I can accept all of reality and all of the existence. Just more than most, certainly politically. I'm very much in the cold, hard reality of life. It's a very uncomfortable and lonely place to be in. Um, and I think I do pretty good with it. I mean, certainly much better than mortality. Um, but that's me, right? Everyone's different. Like, I may have a beast mode mentality in terms of my life and my career and my goals, and dealing with normal, obstacles of life. I mean, things where people will give up. I'm the guy who's still like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done. Like, I have that beast mode in me. So I'm the biggest gangster around when it comes to that. When it comes to hardships in life. I mean, even what I dealt with the house, the previous owner, he was he bailed, right? He was like, I'm out of here. Um, but when it comes to squaring up, like, that's not me. I'm not a fighter, man. I'm not like I'm not a guy. I mean, I go in the hood all the time, and there's definitely a lot of dangerous people around where I go. There's definitely gangs for sure, but I I'm not like gonna go directly where I see people that appear to be hostile and stuff. I'm not about to go with, you know what I mean? Like, that's not me, man. I'm not like, if it comes down to survival, I will square up, and I'm a release the vengeance, but ultimately I would choose to avoid that kind of situation, right? So we're all different, right? We all have our you know pluses and minuses. But let's get to the whole thing about reality and embracing reality and talking about propaganda. So one if you're not clear about where I stand on propaganda, um consider for a moment what one of the key functions of this YouTube channel. So one of the key things is that this channel is essentially an anti-propaganda channel. That is a core message. You may not have picked up on that, right? But the one of the underlying themes is that I am at war with propaganda in this country. I'm, as I many times say, I'm the most disloyal person on this platform. I'm not beholden to any tribe, and in fact, I'm very hostile to all tribes, whether you are in a progressive tribe, a socialist tribe, a liberal tribe, a centrist tribe, a conservative tribe, white nationalist tribe. I am the anti-tribe guy. I love community. I would like us to all, kumbaya, ideally in a perfect world. But I know that's not going to happen. So it's not that I'm anti-community and getting together. I would love to talk to and embrace, the largest amount of people possible. I am definitely a people person, believe it or not. Um, However, I'm very against when people get into their tribes and their cults and you can't say anything bad about my people. Look at what I'm embracing right now. I've been very aggressive about calling out these left wing propagandists who are so fake, and they're basically entertainers, and they're online every day telling us about democracy is at risk. I'll be right back. Democracy is at risk, and we're going to lose our democracy, and Trump's a dictator, and this is serious. And then the major protests that are coming out, and they don't care, right? And the thing about it is, I'm calling it out, and rather than people accepting the reality of what I'm saying, I ain't lie about nothing. Um, Tribal mentality kicks in, and people want to play games and talk about, oh, he covered it, he covered it, like there's so much in their tribes that I think that some of them genuinely don't see a problem at all. Like they generally feel like, you know, there's nothing wrong with paying more attention to covering Trump rallies than covering the people fighting back. Like that to me is so absurd, but that's what comes from the tribe mentality. Tribalism is what gets you to a position where you can't even recognize the differences between those two. I'm just checking the sound real quick because for all I know, no one can hear anything I'm saying. Okay, so there is sound. All right. And it's just to me, this is the way I look at it. It is so plain, simple, black and white that these people are unserious and they're just putting on a show. They're entertainers. They get on every day. Oh, democracy's at risk, and this, and Trump is authoritarian. I mean, the rhetoric is all hands on deck. We are at war. We got to fight back. We've got to stop this. This is serious. This is a massive attack on the country. That's the rhetoric. But then the reality is, oh, there's a massive protest all over the country. I'll probably make a video a couple days from now. I'll mention it in this video. You know, I'll post up a video and say, "Hey guys, massive people going against Trump." Like, I'm not going to be on the ground. I'm not going to be interviewing people, right? I'm not going to help promote the events. I'm not going to tell my viewers when to go. I'm not going to actively encourage them, like, "Hey, you guys should go." Right? Where it's 50 states, right? I mean, again, it's so black and white. I mean, on one side, you have a person who travels across the country to go to Trump rallies to make videos about look at how dumb these Trump supporters are, right? That's on one hand, right? So clearly, they feel it's important to go around and interview Trump supporters, showing how dumb they are, right? Adam Mockler, Luke Beasley, right? And then in this dark hour, according to them, right? The people who many might actually watch them are out there risking their lives to fight back. Right? You said we're at war, whatever, and they're risking their lives. People got to wear masks and stuff. They don't know if they're gonna get, doxxed or ICE gonna come or whatever it is. Right? They feel very very threatened. I talked to a neighbor who went to protest and he was talking about he had to wear a hat. This is an old guy, man. He's like, I don't know, he might be upper 60s or something, and he's like, oh, I gotta cover my face and whatever. So they're out there risking their lives to fight for the country, right? And then you have a YouTuber who Trump rallies, I will book time to go pay a ticket to go fly across somewhere, hire a camera guy, go and hey, Trump supporter, what do you think about Trump? What do you think about Trump? Oh man, these Trump supporters, oh, they're really so bad, whatever. Meanwhile, the American people, we the people fighting back, just gets a mention. And then again, because of tribal mentality, I point this out to people, and they're like, no, they covered it. Like, one is not like the other, right? Traveling across and going to these events and doing so many videos about them, right? Is not the same thing as talking about everything else, and then maybe you mention that, hey, there's a bunch of protests, or you might do one video here after the fact. And why? The thing about it is, you got to think about what is the purpose? If you're talking about a massive protest days after the protest, then you're just trying to make money from it. You're just trying to make money from people in the streets fighting to save the country. You're not trying to help the movement. You're not trying to elevate these people's voices, because here are people out there, right, who are frustrated with what's happening in the country, and you don't care to speak to them and interview them and ask them, other than status quo, and ask them, like, why are you out here? Like, what do you, what, blah, blah. Like, you don't care to speak to and understand the people who are frustrated with what's happening in this country, which is the rhetoric that you've been pushing out, but you care much more to talk to Trump supporters and show how, like, that is a prime example of why I'm so anti-propaganda. right? The fact that even people who like me, who like my content, like that whole point would not register. They still is this tribe mentality, like, this is, there has to be some kind of safe space, right? Talk about how the conservatives are bad and the right wing is bad and Trump is bad, right? And yes, you could some people on the left, but the idea that almost across the board, like our left wing propaganda media is garbage. And the thing about it, just because it's garbage doesn't mean they aren't good things. Like I always say, like MSNBC, I think is one of the trashiest networks that we have. But there's good stuff there. They do good stuff as well, right? All these left wing channels, they do serve a purpose and they do good work, but they're also trash, right? Like I can't name one left wing YouTuber who I would regard as a serious actor who's really, really, doing some like all of them. I look at them as entertainers. Their whole thing is, oh, look what Trump did. Oh, look what this. Oh, right. And the thing about it is, one of the reasons why this is such a big issue to me, and I guess I've failed at making this clear to people, um, is that most people are not leaders. Most people are followers. And again, another uncomfortable reality. A lot of people on the left, just like on the right, your ideas are not your own. The ideas you have were fed to you by the thought leaders that you follow. You don't realize it, right? Again, the truth of reality, the cold, hard truth of reality, is an uncomfortable thing for most people to accept. The reality is, we'd like to think that we are much better than we are, right? Like, case in point, someone look at someone like me and think that I think I know all this stuff and whatever, and I'm like a know-it-all. The reality is, I'm so much embracing of reality that I, in reality, have a lot of doubts about myself all the time. There'll be things that I'm really sure about, I think I'm sure about, and before I speak on them, I'll double check and research. Humility. I have confidence in my knowledge and um, my in touch with reality stance, but what's the expression? Trust but verify. I trust that I'm right, that I, in my understanding of what's happening in this country, but I like to verify. And anyway, right? The reality is, a lot of our viewpoints are shaped by the thought leaders that we listen to. Most people are too busy trying to survive. You're trying to pay your bills, you're trying to deal with relationships, your family. So you got so much stuff going on. Most people are not sitting down, spending time doing analysis of their ideology, the people that they follow. You just kind of, you're going through life, hopping from one task to the next. You got this thing going on, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, your kids, your job thing, and your health situation, right? And that's where you are. That's your day to day. And then you're ingesting here and there the thought leaders. You're watching Majority Report, you're watching Kyle Kalinske, you're watching Adam Mockler, Luke Beasley, you're watching Ring of Fire, whoever it is you're watching. Right wingers, you're watching Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, you're watching Newsmax. And the reality of the human experience is, you keep hearing things over and over again. Like if I'm a right winger, I would have heard the term open borders used so much in my social media circle that I would have, at this point, adopted it as my own idea, my own belief. Most cases, you wouldn't have spent time actually looking into what does this phrase mean? What are they actually talking about? It's just something you keep hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing, and then you adopt it and you repeat it and you're saying like it's open borders, whatever. You don't realize that you've basically been brainwashed and you're just, it's like someone's pulling your strings. They've put this idea in your head and now you're repeating it. Folks on the left, sorry to say, you guys are not special. You're human beings, just like me, just like everybody else, just like the right wingers, like the left wingers, like the centrists. You guys are not special. You have the same mushy brain between your ears like everybody else, which means you're subject to being brainwashed by the people you follow. right? These people in the left wing media, you know, they are responsible a lot for a lot of the ideas you have. Not all of them. I'm not saying like you're a total empty vessel and it's just like whatever they're feeding you. But a lot of your ideas are coming from these people saying stuff over and over again. So, what is the serious consequence? When you have unserious thought leaders, right, giving ideas to a populace that hasn't really spent a lot of time thinking about and looking into a lot of things about what's happening in the world and their ideology, it's going to be really tough to build a really serious momentum, a movement, and we need a serious movement. Look what's happening in the country. Like, if you're terrified of what's happening right now, and our country is being attacked right now, know that one of the reasons why it is like that is because of these left wing propagandists. It's not only because of them, but that's part of it. If Kamala Harris had won, all these people that are sitting there telling you the world is ending would have been enabling her to do the bare minimum. And then because of the tribe mentality, if I pointed this out to Kamala's president and she's just dragging her feet, right? And I pointed this out, a lot of you would get angry and be like, oh, infighting or what am I talking about? And then you'd list out all the things that she's done, which for the most part probably would have been true. You'd have pointed out things that she validly did that would have been true. But again, as I've said many times, there is what the American people need, right? I'm sorry. There's what the American people need from a Joe Biden perspective. This is what the American people needed, right? And there's what Joe Biden delivered. So you can sit here and brag about all of this stuff, and those are good things. He did some good things, right? But he didn't meet the movement. He didn't meet the moment at all, which is why we have Trump as president right now. Kamala would have been doing the same thing. Maybe she'd have done a little bit more than him. So people need this. She's delivering this. And then when I raise alarms and I say, guys, we need to fight this woman and push her to deliver more. If she doesn't do more, if she doesn't fight, if she doesn't have a sense of urgency, this gap, the GOP is going to fill, and we're going to have another lunatic as a president, right? But when I raise that alarm, that's an uncomfortable feeling, right? Everyone in your tribe is saying, look at all these things Kamala's doing. Kamala's doing all these great things, and you're just a right winger, and you're just blah, 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 right? And while you're in this comfort zone and rejecting me, trying to, point out like, hey guys, this is dangerous. Like what was it? Almost 4 years ago, I said Trump was coming back. I said the Democrats gonna lose the midterms. They lost the midterms. I said Trump was gonna come back. I said this years before. Build Back Better. I warned you guys, and you guys were like, "Oh, whatever." And this, the Democrat, you don't want to listen to me. And now here's Trump again, right? Trump got elected. I did a video. I said, "Listen, stock market is probably going to do good. Then it's going to have a massive crash. There's going to be a lot of volatility." I said, based on incompetence. Exactly what happened, right? So things I say might make you feel uncomfortable, but it's the truth. The truth is, left-wing propaganda media is a big part of why we are where we are. Because the people who listen to these people are probably the best group of people to fight back and stop these things, right? If you're that much engaged in politics that you're watching these people, Humanist Report, all these guys, you're much more informed than most people. So you have the knowledge, right? And you have the interest in politics and what's happening in the country. So the fact that you are being distracted with a bunch of Trump videos and your attention is not being focused on, like, how many of these people have been actively telling you guys you need to hit the streets, you need to take direct action? And again, this is how propaganda works. I'm sure that has been said here and there by somebody, whatever, and in your mind you're like, no, he's lying. I heard such and such say whatever, and you don't recognize the difference between half-assed, don't really care, not really putting a lot of effort into. It's kind of like some, the job market is bad, and someone's complaining that they can't find a job, and I'm saying you're not really trying to find a job, you're not really fighting for a job, and then somebody defending them and saying, that's not true. I've seen them submitting resumes. And then the reality is maybe they submitted like 3 or 4 resumes or something in 3 months. And you're telling me that I'm misinforming you by saying this person is unserious. They're complaining about finding a job. They've only submitted 3 resumes in 3 months. They're not serious about it. And again, cult tribe mentality, you'd be rejecting that. And you'd point out the exception. Like when I say they're not covering the protest, they're not covering the protest. I don't mean that as an absolute statement, right? But because of comfort zone, that statement is uncomfortable. I'm calling out people that you like. So you want to defend them and like, oh no, no, no. And then your brain is pulling out like, I remember that time that he said something about the protest, and there was that one video, whatever. A very surface level analysis. You don't want to dig deep enough to be like, how much are they covering it? How are they covering it? Are they telling when the events are? Are they giving you guys the websites? Are they actively encouraging you guys? Like, you guys should go out there? Are half of their videos with them giving a call to action of like, hey, you guys, you should go to these events. You should, if you can't go to an event, you should support an event, or you should do this, or you should do that. Is that something like, again, are they being the guy who submitted 3 resumes in 3 months that's rejecting like you're not really trying? They say, no, 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 I've submitted resumes. I just is that what these left-wing propagandists are doing? Or are they doing 3 resumes in 3 months? Right? I've never said that they don't mention the protest, that they didn't do any videos talking about the protest. That's not the point that I'm making, but your brain puts you in that because you need anything to like deflect from what I'm saying. I'm calling out people that you like. So, okay, I need to reject that somehow. And it's kind of, oh, there was that one video. No, no, that's not true. He did a video. Oh, he submitted resumes. I saw him submitting resumes. Yeah. But how many resumes did he submit? Right? Is he meeting the moment? Are they meeting the moment? Is posting about a protest 3 days after, is that meeting the moment? Is not yourself going to a protest not meeting the moment? If democracy is such as attack and we're headed to dictatorship and they're going to be coming with secret police, if that's what's really happening, then we need all hands on deck. So these clowns in left-wing propaganda media, they should be in the streets with the protesters, interviewing them, talking to them, promoting these events, putting out the websites, right? If it's serious. But if it's just content, I'll make a video 2 days later. I might mention it in the middle of the video, right? But again, that's an uncomfortable thing. You don't want to hear about that. You don't want to hear that people that you like are clowns, that are unserious, that are contributing to the very problem that they're talking about. Right? Again, if Kamala Harris had won, the same people telling us about dictatorship would be the same ones enabling her to not meet the moment. Right? How many times are these same people now doing this stuff under Joe Biden? Well, Joe Biden did way more than I expected. Well, Joe Biden did way more than I expected. Yeah, Joe Biden, he did way more than I expected. These are the same people right now telling you democracy is attack and this and that and blah, 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 right? But they don't have a level of seriousness or urgency. And therefore, they are enabling the situation to get worse. They are enabling things to go much further than they need to be, because it's kind of like they're monetizing the demise of this country, and they're presenting this like it's a TV show. That's what they're doing. It's a soap opera. Oh, Trump said something today, and oh my goodness, oh, this is getting wild. You guys won't believe what today Trump said such and such. But what you doing about it? What are you doing about it? Are you out in the streets? Are you putting people to go out and fight? Are you taking it serious, or is it just content? That's where I have a problem with a lot of these people. But that being said, the question of the video, the title of this video, is it now time for me to embrace propaganda? I'm listening. I just saw that you were live. Yeah, of course. YouTube sends it late. Why would I even say such a thing? Why would I want to embrace propaganda? I am one of the few people who not only verbally reject propaganda, I actively reject it, because most people would say they don't like propaganda, but then they actually do watch it. Actually, Danny said he actually is okay with a little bit of propaganda, and I appreciate that. Like, Danny's actually being more embracing of reality than most. At least he's like acknowledging that, I kind of like the propaganda a little bit. Most people would just deny it. They would think that, no, I'm watching a real journalist. So why would I embrace something that my whole channel is against? Because perhaps I don't want to be a hypocrite. Look at my passionate statement I just made about meeting the moment and all hands on deck. And if things are truly as serious as these left wing propagandists claim they are, then is it time to move to survival mode? When it's a matter of survival, you know, let's put it this way. You could be following the rules of the road. You don't speed. You follow all the rules on the road, right? You never get any tickets. And then there comes a day where someone's chasing you with a gun. They want to kill you, and you're in your car. Are you going to follow the speed limit? So I'm wondering if I'm that guy who is very, um, as a thought experiment, not in reality, that guy who is very aggressively, you got to follow the rules driving on the road. Don't speed, and always use your blinker, guys. Am I that guy? But then in the moment where I'm being chased, I'm still doing the speed limit. I think there's a threshold where there's a threshold that you cross where doing the right thing is not necessarily the right thing to do. Right? You follow the rules up until it becomes inappropriate to do so. It's inappropriate to be following the speed limit while you're being chased. Someone's chasing you in a car shooting at you. It's inappropriate for you to be limiting your speed to 55 miles per hour. You need to go as fast as you need to go to escape. With that being said, we are currently at war. Ironically, Alex Jones, they took that title of the InfoWars show. That's what's happening right now. It is we've been in a serious informational war for a long time. Alex Jones represents one of the enemies in that war for a long time. But he's embraced the rhetoric of that tagline, InfoWars. We are in an information war, and just like many other wars, there are casualties. People are literally going to die as a result of what's happening right now. People have already died as a result of what's happening right now. So do I close my eyes to the destruction of what's happening? I mean, while I'm passionate about we got to fight back, I embrace the direct action, the protest. Should I also embrace the fighting fire with fire? One of the things that's been destroying this country is right-wing propaganda. They're very, very good at what they do, and I don't know. I'm still in the process of trying to figure out where I stand with that. But I at least came to the conclusion where I guess here's the bottom line. Let's get to the the most important foundational points. Doing anything that further enables what's happening now to the country or making it worse, I think is seriously inappropriate to be doing right now. So, if not going along with the propaganda thing is something that is a threat in terms of it's enabling because it's like because if you're analogy time, if you go to a street fighting event and you're following professional boxing rules or something, I mean, it's nice that you're being principled and nothing below the belt and whatever, but you're about to get knocked the fuck out. They're gonna throw sand in your face. if you're in a no holds barred competition and you are following all the rules, you are gonna get destroyed. I'll be right back. So I think it's inappropriate to go to a boxing event that's no holds barred and follow rules. It's dangerous to do so. So if you're in a war, information war with a massive propaganda, like that's who your opponent is, the right-wing propaganda machine. I mean, they are just launching nuclear missiles and they're dropping bombs and you know, they are actually, unfortunately, our military did this. They are actually shooting at people who are picking up their dead. I don't know if you guys saw that video. The video of our troops doing that. That is what the right wing media is doing in this info war, right? They are taking out other people in this country with their information war attacks. And then when other people gather around to gather their dead, the right wing media is shooting at the people that's trying to get the bodies. That's what they're doing. So if that's what it is, I would have to admit that trying to shake hands and do things the right way, I don't think is the appropriate response. So that is my uncomfortable truth. So I started this video talking about many people can't handle the truth. So maybe that's my truth that I can't handle. That things have gotten so bad in this country that we may have come to the point where we need propaganda. But then again, that assumes that that's the only way. That's a limited way of thinking. That assumes that's the only way to fight back and to win. Right? Is there a path to fight back and win successfully without propaganda? I would like to think that that is true. Because I mean, when we think about propaganda, what are we talking about? So your content is all attacking one side and promoting the other side, or at least not doing the same for the other side. So you're every day you're Trump is bad, Republicans are bad, right wingers are bad, and then you're not so much encouraged to call out your own side. Now, left wing media is definitely not as much propaganda as right wing by far, because the left wing media does call out other left wing media folks. Um, there's definitely a lot of different factions, but I don't know, man. I guess the problem comes from what I described when I said what would happen if Kamala won. If Kamala Harris had won, all these people telling us the world is on fire. Yes, they would have called her out. I'm not saying they wouldn't, but it wouldn't have been at an appropriate level, right? Because look at what's happening right now. If Kamala Harris had won and she was dragging her feet, we would be looking at some kind of chaos in the next election. Like the country has been in a very serious state for a very long time. Anything less than going all out war to correct a lot of the issues. Like, for example, the fact that pay has been stagnant for so long, right? People are not making enough money to survive. Anything short of going all out war to correct those things, to meet the moment, healthcare, income, anything short of that is extremely dangerous and damaging to the country. And left wing propaganda is that's one of the biggest dangers, is that they are enablers of that kind of dragging of the feet, which is what puts us in a situation we're in right now. What would have happened if, as soon as Joe Biden won, all of left wing media were aggressively pushing him and pushing their viewers to push him. Like, let's go, let's get it done. Instead of them saying, give him time, give him time. He just got elected, whatever. You don't know how this stuff works, and all the back and forth. And I realize one of the tricks is you have propagandists that are, I guess, just, I don't know, maybe it's their bias or whatever, and then you have malicious propagandists who, like the people who just every day is like the Democrats suck, from a bad faith perspective. So maybe the risk of you getting too hard against the Democrats risks you getting associated with the bad faith people. I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm going to end on this. I certainly didn't have the time to do this live stream as long as I have already, and I certainly don't have the time to do any more than I have already. I just want to share my thoughts on that. So I don't know. What's the answer to the question? Am I ready? Like, what would that even mean? Me embracing propaganda. I would say I'm gonna take the easy way out because my channel is small and will always be small. Um, being calling out both sides as aggressively as I do. Um, I don't have enough reach to really be meaningful in terms of what's happening in the country right now. So I think I can get away with still continuing to reject propaganda, but perhaps I would at least consider how I perceive those that choose to do the propaganda. But then again, my channel is so small, so it doesn't really matter. Like, if I go hardcore against these guys as I have, what's the difference? The only thing is, I would have a problem is if I'm doing anything to hurt what's happening in the country, make it worse, or getting in the way of us, being able to succeed here. And because of my lack of reach, I can't really hurt or help things on a national scale. So I think for me, the right thing to do is stay true to my values, and continue to do what I have been doing, which is calling out propaganda wherever it comes from. Continue to be very aggressively against it. Like, I don't have a lot of respect for any of these guys in left wing media. Absolutely, I mean, right wing media is way lower than that, but left wing media, I look at all these guys as clowns. I have a lot of animosity to just about all these guys, even though I watch a lot of them, and not just for content, because it's kind of like, what else? What else is out there? Like, this is I'm living in the United States of America. Our media sucks. Independent media is the worst of it. Corporate news is absolutely trash. But I guess it's kind of like I could have a lot of problems with capitalism and things like that, but I'm not about to go be a hermit living in the mountains. Like, that's not my thing. So even though I look at these guys as clowns, I do recognize the good value that they provide, and there is good content, and it does help me to stay informed as well. You know, I I I I look at them through appropriately colored lenses where I know these guys are clowns. So whenever they say stuff, I don't trust it, right? So they say stuff, I listen to how they're saying it, and I'm being very skeptical. So if they're saying stuff that's true, I can get to be informed about it, and I can look into it further. If they're saying stuff that's false, I'll see enough red flags that I'm kind of like, I don't know about that, you know. So because I'm kind of uh, I don't know what the word is, informed viewer of this content, I'm able to filter through the noise. And again, it's, what else am I going to watch? Like, I'm not. Um, it's you have corporate news, which has the resources to travel around the world and cover so much stuff, and then you have these independent guys who, lots of problems with them, but this is what we have, right? I'm not gonna I'm not gonna put my head in the dirt and like not be informed. So unfortunately, I'm forced to consume stuff from a bunch of clowns, right? Hey, Danny, where what? Danny, where you been, Danny? Coming late to my live stream? Bow. And you got yeah, you got a mention in my live stream and you weren't even here, man. You got something better to do than watch a Debate Me channel live stream. I'll watch it later. I also do Sam. Well, you said you watched Sam Cedar, and just because environmental coffee house, right? Yeah, I think Sam Cedar is he has a good grasp on things politically. Um, I think he tends to be. I think Danny was the one that rejected this. I looked at him. I said he was clueless. Um, he there is a level of cluelessness to Sam Cedar. Like he knows the politics, he knows the history. Like if I want to understand historical context of the Democrats or things about the political process, like Sam Cedar's the guy I want to talk to. But he kind of lives in a bubble. He's in a bubble, and it's just a lot of things that completely escape his view because he's kind of like most of these left wing folks. They're following left wing people on Twitter, right? So an algorithm is feeding them certain things. So of the things that the machine is feeding Sam Cedar, he usually, with exception of course, is able to do a pretty good evaluation and explain it and give us the historical context and let's talk about what's a filibuster. Like this is what happens, and actually, do you know the filibuster came from back in the day when such and such? Like he knows that stuff, but I don't think he has a curiosity to know things beyond his bubble. So that's the thing. So a lot of stuff will completely um he'll be blind. Let's just say he has it's weird. It's like a duality to Sam Cedar. He's very informed about things within his bubble, but a lot of stuff just blows right past him because again he's stuck in that bubble. For example, um I don't remember how this stuff went down, but I would think as an example, maybe the lab leak stuff. You know, Sam Cedar would be a guy that would be very informed on all the best arguments from people who are saying the lab leak is nonsense, and he would know all about the natural origins data. So anything that's scientists have put out like, oh, it can't be this because of whatever, like he would know that very well. But if there's a lot of data out there also promoting that it might be a lab leak, Sam Cedar's not going to be the guy to let you know that. Like he's not going to be the one to expand your horizons. And so let's say, for example, if the left wing in general gets something wrong, Sam Cedar is not going to be the guy to set you on the right course, right? He's going to be getting it wrong. So whatever are common mistakes from, I would say, the good faith actors for the most part on the left, Sam Cedar is going to be going along with them. He's not going to be the one to be like, hey, wait a minute, guys. With exception, of course, he's not a robot, but that's the thing I see with him. And also he tends to be very ignorant of social media. Like, for example, I've seen so many times where there'll be a big name as an independent person, and he doesn't know who they are. So, for example, I don't know if Tim Pool was one of them. Like Tim Pool with millions of views. I mean, you're in the business, and here's this guy, a right wing guy, who's so big. And like maybe the first time he's like, who? I've so many times I've heard him like, who is this guy? And it'll be like a major player in the right wing media space. So he's in a bubble to the point where he's not even paying attention to the people who oppose him. Right? It's like I know all what's going on in the left wing and what's said here, but what's happening in right wing media, no clue, no interest at all. He's running his business. He's in his show. Whatever's coming in the liberal feeds, like let's talk about that and Trump this and whatever, and that's it. Whatever's happened over here, no idea. And I think that's a little bit of a boomer in him too, because he's an older guy. So he's kind of all these young kids, little young influencers. I think he has a lot of disdain for them. I mean, I certainly do as well, but I think his disdain is a little bit more boomerish. So he's definitely not really that interested in uh Twitch people or whoever. You know what I mean? Who's popping on TikTok? You know what I mean? Anyway, on that note, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. I don't know why my coffee sucks. Even though I did some fresh beans, is it too strong? I think that's what it is. Too strong. I need more. I need more of my. This is my what you call it? My soy soy boy ingredients. Although it's backwards. Califia. I never bought this before. I just bought this for the first time. It's a almond creamer, toasted hazelnut. Whatever. I like to try new things every once in a while. I usually buy. I don't know. I don't even know the brand of the one I buy. I just know what it looks like. I go in the store. I see it. I pick it up. But I just wanted to try something different. I know I like hazelnut. This is a different brand. I tried it out. Not my best work. I got distracted by the video. That's why. Anyway, I'm out. This is Baby Channel. The baby in the comment section below. Click the like button, subscribe.